everyone, myself Sneha Dalvi. So today we are going to learn an interesting topic, that is ARP spoofing, which comes under network security. So basically when it comes to network security, so it's very important aspect that each and everything should be in a secured manner, whether you're communicating with each other or you're doing any kind of a transactions. So in today's area, in the digitalized world which we are capable of using the things such as mobile phone, computers, internet, so whether the things are secure or not and how the things are being transmitted, so just we'll have a look on the video and we'll quickly get to know what exactly the process is being delivering, or which we are considering while sharing or transmitting information from your system, either your mobile phone, tablet, and any of the devices which we are using today. So without wasting any time, I would like to start ARP spoofing. Okay, as the term known as spoofing, what exactly spoofing is nothing but to hearing something or to stealing some information over the internet. And whereas ARP is concerned, ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. So let's get started. We'll see the basic definition of ARP and then we'll continue with the process of it. So what exactly ARP is? Okay, just I have said it is nothing but a spoofing protocol. Okay, so ARP is nothing but a type of attack in which a malicious attacker send falsified ARP messages over a local area network. So when considering your system is connected to your internet, so obviously many of the do transaction or send messages from your local computer or a system to the local area network, that is through internet route. This result in leaking of data. Obviously there are attackers which waits to perform any kind of attack, right? So that attack is being performed over internet. So what exactly happens in ARP spoofing? Whenever a data is sent from your local machine, so that is nothing but your MAC address is being recorded, okay, and which is transmitted to the computer, from the computer to the server. Okay, so the result of linking of an attacker's MAC address with an IP address of a legitimate computer or a server on the network. Once the attacker's MAC address is connected to the authenticate IP address, so what exactly the attacker will do? For example, there are two computers. One is the sender and other is the receiver. When the sender sends a message to a receiver one, what exactly is happening? The attacker, which is present on the third party approval, what he does is check the internet connectivity. He will try to trace the MAC address of the system, and after tracing the MAC address, he will note down the IP address from where exactly the sender is sending a message and to whom. So this all data is being spoofed by an hacker. Okay, so ARP spoofing can enable malicious parties to intercept, modify, or even stop the data to transmit it. Okay, so these are the different drawbacks which the attacker can perform on your internet. Okay, so ARP spoofing, what exactly in ARP spoofing can only occur on local system that utilize the address resolution protocol. Okay, so we'll see a diagrammatic representation of it. So how does an attacker is performing an attack, in what is exactly the format is, and in which way we can recover it from. Okay, so this is short example of ARP spoofing. You can see a diagram over here. Just I'm pointing out with it. There is a user. Okay, so obviously whenever a user, either it is you or me, okay, we use an IP address. Okay, with the help of IP address we connect to internet. Yes, and obviously which the system which you are using will have a MAC address. Okay, that is machine address. So whenever you're transmitting or when you're transfer a data, when you're for example, if you're doing some transaction over internet, okay, so what exactly is done? Your IP address is passed through a gateway and through a worldwide internet, that is World Wide Web. Okay, so the all data is being loaded in the gateway. Okay, along with your MAC address, along with your IP address. Okay, so what exactly the next diagram indicates, you can see here over here, the hacker, there is a third person hacker. He wants to hack your system, so he will check he will just check out what is your IP address or what is your MAC address. How he is going to trace out? He will either hack the gateway router, okay, in order to find out your personal information and all. So just continue with the second diagram. Yeah. So once the hacker knows the IP address and MAC address, so what he can perform exactly, he can retransmit your route, okay. So initially you can see the direct connection was from the user, gateway and World Wide Web. In the next image you can definitely see that the hacker has achieved your IP address. He is changing his IP address to the another IP address, and again the way of route has been changed. Okay, so this is a kind of a attack where attacker is performing. So what exactly it is pretending that, for example, there is a username as Bob, okay. So Bob is communicating or doing a transaction over internet. So what is hacker will do? There is a hacker named as Alice. So what exactly the Alice will consider? Alice will redirect the Bob IP address and the Bob's MAC address to his IP address, and then transaction is being done through his system over the internet. So the route has been redirected. So this is a basic concept of ARP spoofing. So what are the different categories we can consider in ARP spoofing? Okay, so we will see that ARP spoofing attacks can have serious effect on enterprises. Okay, enterprises is nothing but an organization or an institute, obviously. In this most basic application, ARP spoofing attacks are used to steal sensitive information. Obviously, what exactly the main motive of an attacker is to steal the sensitive information. Sensitive information as in it can be username, IP address, MAC address, your cookies, the browsing history, anything can be spoofed from your system. Okay. Beyond this, ARP spoofing attacks are often used to help other attacks such as denial of service attack. Okay, what exactly the DOS attack is? So DOS attack is nothing but continuously hitting a router with IP addresses so that it generates a traffic over internet and you're not accessible to that particular IP address for a time being. So this is nothing but an kind or an example of how DOS attack works. Okay, so I will like to explain this DOS attack with an example. For example, there are many such online offers are there, right? Like Amazon big day sale, or end of the season sale, Flipkart end of the season sale, Myntra end of the season sale. What exactly this happens? And have you ever tried this? You have experienced this kind of an attack. So what exactly happened in this kind of attack? When there is a big season sale, there are lots of offers related to your this mobile phones offer are there, or some electronic gadgets offers are there. So what exactly happening? When you are try to log in at that moment of a time, for example, the offer starts at 12 p.m. at night. So within 3 seconds or within 3 minutes, the server gets down for that movement. And after, if you reload the page, you're not at all accessible to any of the gadgets. They just display out of stock, right? These kinds of attacks are being performed on such kinds of websites so that the other user cannot access that particular product or cannot download that particular products. Okay, so this is happening. Real life examples are this. This is nothing but the hacker or attackers are performing a denial of service attack on that particular website. So DOS attack often leverage ARP spoofing to link multiple IP addresses to a single target MAC address. Just I have told that there is means they are targeting to a particular IP address or a MAC address of a system. They are particularly targeting that Amazon website so that you can't access that website at that time being. So as a result, the traffic is intended for many different IP addresses will be redirected to the target's MAC address, overloading the target with traffic. So obviously the traffic is generated at that moment and it faces difficulties to that. Okay, the next attacks comes session hijacking. So what exactly happens in session hijacking is nothing but a type of an ARP spoofing to steal session IDs, okay, which is generated by the attacker to get access to the private systems or data. That is nothing but you're just occupying someone's session ID. So what exactly this session indicates, I will like to give another example. So whenever you're trying to log in to any of the system or any of the website, consider a website. So whenever you log in, until the end you're not logging in out, or you're not closing your page, though that at that moment the session has been generated, okay, at that moment. So at that session what attackers do, they will hijack that session ID with the help of other name, and they try to access some sensitive data of the user, such as ATM card number. If you're doing any kind of transaction, they will spoof your IP address, spoof your private details, and next time they will try to log in with that information which they have fetched out. Okay, then comes a man in the middle attack. It's again a simple attack. In man in the middle attack, what exactly it relies on ARP spoofing to stop and modify data between victims. So what exactly man in the middle attack do? Just consider an example. There is a Bob and there is an Alice. Okay, both want to communicate between each other. Okay, so what exactly the third person, the attacker or hacker, will do? He will just monitor it. Okay, he will just monitor what Bob's is doing and what Alice is doing. He will try to access that session and he try to modify it. So it's nothing but a man in the middle attack. So this all categories comes under ARP spoofing attacks. Okay, hope the 3 points are clear. Then moving further, so how exactly the ARP spoofing works? Just I have explained with an example, but again there are some few steps we have to follow to understand what exactly the steps are going to go through it. So the attackers open an ARP spoofing tool. Obviously the spoofing is done with the help of many tools which are available in the market, either in a paid version or there are many tools which is open source. We can just download it and we can just try it on your own. Okay, so what exactly the hacker will do? The hacker will download the ARP spoofing tool and sets of tools. Okay, then he will try to randomly give the IP addresses to match the IP address of the subnet of a target machine. Okay, so he will randomly give the IP addresses sequence. And for example, popular ARP spoofing software include ARP spoof, chain, and able. ARP poisoning is there, then Ettercap. These are the different ARP spoofing software which is freely available and which are famous. With the help of this software, you can try it on your own to trace out the IP addresses, and we can fetch more of the information from that particular IP address. So what exactly the step 2 is, the attacker, once the IP address he is fetching out, though with the help of the ARP tool, he will scan that IP address and the MAC address of the host or the target system. Okay, after mapping it, he will choose the target. Okay, the attacker chooses his target and then begin sending ARP packets along the LAN. Okay, so obviously the system will be connected to internet. Once the IP address is traced of the target system, he will try on just giving the packets over the internet. Okay, and try to create a load on that particular LAN over there. Okay, then contains attacker's MAC address and targets the IP address. Obviously it will check the IP address, it will check the MAC address of the target system, and he will start just creating a traffic or a load on that particular IP address. Okay, as on the host of local cache, the spoof ARP packets data that those hosts send to the victim will go to the attackers instead, from where the attacker can steal the data or launch more sophisticated follow-up attacks. So obviously once the connection is established or a session has been established between the attacker's PC and the target's PC, what exactly the attacker will do? He will try to redirect the route and he will try to catch up more information as he can. He can just fetch the more information and he will just spoof the different things what exactly the attacker or the target system is doing. So this is all about the ARP, how it has been working. So hope the all concept has been clear about ARP spoofing, different types of attacks, and how the attacker is performing, how the traffic is being created, what is denial of service attack, that is man in the middle attack, session hijacking. So there's there are many attacks in it, but we can just consider the basic 3 different types of attack which comes under ARP spoofing. Okay, so hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you everyone.